Everyone, welcome back. It's the Running with Heart podcast, the first one for 2022, and coming to you from the studio as we're counting down very rapidly now to the Sonder Monster. It is, as of right now, as of the day I'm recording, which is Friday, the drum roll, 11th of February. It is 14 weeks. Yes, 14 short weeks to the Sonder Monster. Of course, if you're new to the journey, if you're new to the podcast, if you're new to following myself, the Sonder Monster is an event I've taken on to run for the Heart Foundation. 231 kilometres of the Larapinta Trail in the Northern Territory, Australia. I'm doing it in May as part of the Westmax Running Festival. We begin on the 20th of May, which is a Friday. We start at 9 a.m. We have 60 hours to complete the 231 kilometre Larapinta Trail. Am I excited? Yes, I am. Am I nervous? Yes, I am. Am I ready? It depends on the day. And I shouldn't be ready at this point either, let's be honest. I still have 14 weeks of good, solid, quality time to put into training to make sure that I am ready when it comes, when the time comes, to stand on that start line and look at Mount Sonder rising above me to begin the 231 kilometre journey to Alice Springs. And that's where the finish line is. As I've said, I'm doing it all running with Heart. I'm doing it for the Heart Foundation in support of them, fundraising for them. A massive goal of $23,100 is my aim. We have a bit to go yet, but I'm confident we can still get there. And of course, to make sure I get to the finish line is the goal as well. I'd love to, from the outset, when looking at goals, I've talked about doing it in 2 days, as I hold up three fingers for those watching on YouTube. 2 days to run it, which is 48 hours. I have 60 hours to complete it. Last year, I believe only 3 people completed it in the 60 hours out of the, I think it was 15 or 16 starters. So I want to make sure I get to the finish line, and so doing everything I can. And we're going to talk about that today. We're going to look at what my plans are and things I'm starting to put in place when I get to the start line. When I head off to Alice Springs in May and I stand there at the start line, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. It's not something you go, well, I'll have a crack this year and I'll go back next year. It's a big undertaking. I've been training for it since April last year, so we're talking already 10 months. A lot of time, emotional investment, put into it, physical investment. And so you'll see it as once in a lifetime. So when you stand there on that start line, I don't want to be going, I wish I'd done more of that. I wish I'd done that. I wish I'd done that. And I'm not just talking about training wise. Yes, training is included in that, but I'm also talking about the fundraising, the awareness of heart disease, the battle of heart disease in this country we call home in Australia. All those little things, education, even things as far as my running board. I have a running board that my beautiful wife Monique gave me as a gift that she made many years ago now. It'd probably be at least 12, it could be 15 years. And it has sections on it, and I haven't updated it a lot lately. It was always my board for when I was chasing my sub 40-minute time in the 10K and my City of Surf goals. And then those who have followed the journey would know that I changed to my focus, my personal focus of chasing times, and that changed to running with Heart and running for the Heart Foundation, running for other people, dedicating the kilometres that I run to other people in those races. And so the running board, I really want to update it and put on it things people are saying to me, positive things that I'm thinking in my training and in my journey. One that stands out, which is written down, but it's not on my running board, and I want to see it every day, is when times get tough out there, whether it be through injury, fatigue, nutrition issues, anxiety. I suffer from mental health, anxiety disorder, and that's a big thing I'm working on at the moment to make sure I've got that as best as I can under control. But if something like that derails my race out there, if I walk off the course, so to speak, if I quit, I have to get in the car and drive back to Alice Springs to get to the finish line to get back to accommodation. I'd rather run the trail than drive it. So that's, or you don't drive the trail, but driving next to it, you can see it. You can see the West MacDonnell Ranges. So that's something I've got written down at the moment, and a mate said that to me, and it's so true. Like, if you step off that trail and go, no, I'm done, the anxiety's got the better of me, or my leg's too sore. Once you're off, you're off. You don't go, oh, wait a sec, I've changed my mind. Once you're in that car and you're driving back and you're watching the West MacDonnell Ranges go past as you head down the highway to Alice Springs, that's it. And I want to make sure, do everything I can to make sure that that doesn't happen. So things like that, that's a motivational statement for me. I'm known for my strong hill running, my strong legs. But a bit of a mantra that I've come up with lately is strong legs, stronger mind. Because I know my mind is my weakness at the moment. And that's something we're actually going to look at. I'm going to take an in-depth, on-the-spot, live SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats when it comes to my preparation for the Sonder Monster and my training coming up. I'm going to do that right here today in the studio with you, either listening on Spotify or watching on YouTube. And it's something I encourage you to do with me. It doesn't necessarily have to be for your running. It could be for fitness in general. It might be for your work. It could be for something you've got happening in life at the moment, life in general. But the SWOT analysis is a good opportunity to see where we're at. And it's simply, the strength is, what are my strong points? What can I use? And what can I build on? And then the weaknesses, what is my weak spot? What is holding me back? What is stopping me achieving something? Opportunities, what opportunities are there for me? Maybe it's for growth or to go in a new direction. And then what threats are there? Straight to mind comes COVID. COVID's a threat for everything at the moment. But yeah, we'll get to that very shortly. But look, if you're here for the first time for the Running with Heart podcast, it is episode 23. I can't believe we've done 23 of these now, or I've done 23 of them. And I thank you for listening and watching and following on. Please hit the subscribe button, either on Spotify or YouTube. Drop me a comment, something you'd like me to discuss in the podcast. I really want to, this year, as we get closer and the journey builds in momentum, I guess, towards the end of it, the Sonder Monster, is talk more about running and get some information out there. Talk about things that you might have questions about or queries about your own running, or running in general, and maybe we can start a discussion on that. So we'll get to that as well. So since I last spoke, which was after the 100K, I did the 100 kilometer recap, which Craig and myself did before Christmas. And that was as a pre-qualifier for the Sonder Monster. That's the last time we spoke here in the podcast studio. So since then, I want to just recap what I've been doing. So following that 100K effort, I took 3 weeks off. That included over Christmas and New Year, and that was just simply downtime. Let the body recover, let the mind refresh itself, recover as well, I guess. For me, and I guess it's for a lot of people, but for me, there's probably more mental effort that goes into doing a run like the 100 kilometers than there is physical, especially with my anxiety and those who follow the journey. And you can go back and listen to the podcast, episode 22, and there's posts on it on Facebook and Instagram. I had an anxiety battle that day out there doing the 100K, which I was able to overcome. But yeah, so it gives a chance, that 3 weeks gave me a chance to physically recover, mentally recover, and pretty much freshen myself up, ready for the onslaught that was to come. And look, I won't lie, in that time, and even now in my training, there's always probably one day, maybe not a day, or it happens on a day, there's always a moment at some stage during the week when I have serious doubts about what I've undertaken and whether I can complete it. And again, that's just my mental state, I believe. Because then there's other days where I'm like, I've got this, I can't wait for this, let's do it, let's get to the start line, let's have a crack at 2:31. So it's a funny journey. It's a roller coaster of emotions, I guess, too. But yeah, during that 3 weeks, there was times when I did look and go, I just can't keep going. I can't keep the training load up and juggling it with family commitments, family life, personal life, work life. I run my own business, the Ant Fitness. During that 3 weeks off, I was in the process of taking my business in a new direction, moving premises. So it was all happening. And it was just like, I'm exhausted. And this is pretty much my one break for the year, this 3-week period. And it's like, I just can't keep going. I just can't keep up with the training that I need to do to have a fair crack at the Sonder Monster. But then, of course, once you get back into the routine of training, you start making it happen again. And look, it hasn't been, what am I up to? Week 6, I believe. Saturday, there we go. I'm going to say I'm up to week 6. How's that sound? Does anyone want to disagree with me? I'm just flicking through my running journal here. I keep a running journal. For those who are watching on YouTube, I'm going to get to those bottles in a sec. I keep a running journal where I record down all my workouts. I record comments down. If I do resistance training or core, I record that down. I started using blank journals instead of actual printed running journals to try and be more creative. Be more creative. That's what I'm trying to say. Be more creative with it, where I draw pictures and stuff. And again, that's just part of my mental health and just expressing myself. I love writing. I don't do that enough. So anyway, I digress. But yeah, so in the 6 weeks, it probably hasn't been as consistent as I would like. One thing I've done during January was I didn't run Saturdays. In the 100K preparation, running 6 days a week, I took Saturdays off as a rest day in January, and that was simply to, again, give myself more chance of recovery and trying to get myself feeling a bit more energetic, I guess, more energy and not as tired, feeling very tired. And I think the state of the world contributes to that. So now we're into February. The first weekend of February was last weekend, which we had a touch knockout down, so there was no running for me on that weekend. So it comes down to this weekend now, and I'm down for 2 runs, but I'm going to get to that shortly because I managed to sustain a slight injury in the touch knockout last weekend. But yeah, so the training, it's funny, I say it hasn't been as consistent as I would like, but it's been done consistent. For example, that week leading into the touch knockout, I felt like I hadn't done my runs. I hadn't done runs at all. And yet I'd only missed one of them. I'd run Monday, I'd run Tuesday, I'd run Thursday, I'd run Friday. So it's funny, and I think it's that high bar of expectation that I set myself, which I guess potentially could be a weakness. But yeah, we'll get to that shortly when we do the SWOT analysis. So I've been clocking up the kilometers up to 3 hours 2 weeks ago, 3 hour long run. I did bring in a hill repeat session a fortnight ago, and I've done that twice now. And that's been really good for, one, the strength in the legs, but also the mental strength, repeatedly doing the same hill, run up, jog it down, run up, try and beat the time. I haven't done a session like that for a long time. It's probably something I'll use the word neglected in my ultra training. But again, in hindsight, I felt really good for doing it. And they were hour sessions. And in the past, when I've done 10K training or sit or surf training or even marathon training, those hill sessions would always have a number of reps to them. So it'd be like, I'm going to do 6 by 400 meter hills or 8 by 200 meter hills. But going with my time training now, where everything's through time, 3 hour long run, an hour tempo run, 2 hours intervals, I did the same with the hills. It was 30 minutes of hill repeats instead of I'm going to do 6. So it meant if I got back down the bottom and the clock was at 29:50, it meant I had to go again. Thankfully, it didn't happen. I got to stop most times when I felt like I was spent. Again, maybe that's my mental way of checking out early too, and I've got to watch that. But what I realized this week, looking back at those sessions, is I should have, so I do like a 15-20 minute warm up, I do my 30-minute hill session and then a 10-minute cool down. What I should have done is then gone for an hour run. So I'm selling myself short in that regard. So instead of being a 60-minute hill session that included warm-up, cool-down time, and the actual hill session was 30 minutes, it should have actually had an hour of endurance running on the back of it. So I'm running for longer after doing the hills. So that's something I've looked at since doing that as well. But K-wise, I've been clocking up around I cracked, I think, 80 Ks Just having a look here so I can give you a figure. So this is week 5. We're talking 79.64. That's my biggest week for the year, and since the 100k effort in December. Elevation's been increasing. That's a goal I've set myself each week, to increase that. So we clocked at 1936 meters in that same 79k week. And usually the training's around 12 hours it's been sitting at. So with 14 weeks to go, it's really time to ramp it up. And so that's why I want to sit down. I want to do a SWOT analysis. Now, with that 100k training, the training I did was based on 100-mile training. So that's 160 Ks, even though I only had to run 100 kilometers for my qualifier. And that's what we did in the qualifier, Craig and myself. The training leading into it was all based on a 100-mile distance. And it worked really well, had me feeling physically strong, running strong, and mentally strong. But of course, I'm not doing 100 miles. I'm doing another 70 Ks roughly on top of that. So then I've got to look and go, okay, what do I need to adjust here? What do I need to fix to get that extra distance, to make it work? It worked well because the 100k was fairly comfortable, probably more comfortable than I thought, and we exceeded our time. Like we did 14 hours 38 or something, where I thought maybe it would be closer to 20. But so it's worked. So what do I need to change there? And I thought what I need to do is look at a SWOT analysis. So that's what we're going to do now. So look, if you want to take part in this exercise at home, grab yourself a pen and a bit of paper. Now, as I said, it doesn't have to be necessary for your running. It could be a goal you're working towards. It could be work related. It could be family, home life related, or just life in general related. But a good chance to see where you stand at the moment. Look at what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. The aim is to nurture those strengths, build or improve those weaknesses, and take advantage of the opportunities while eliminating the threats. SWOT, S-W-O-T. Okay, so I'm just going to go to my pen and paper here. So the first one, strengths. So I write a big S on my page. So just showing those watching on YouTube, big S. For strengths, you can write in there if you want in brackets, strengths. And so, can't spell. So what are my strengths at the moment when I look at, so I'm doing this particularly for my journey of the Sonder Monster, what I'm aiming for. So my strength at the moment is my dedication. So I'm going to put dedication. I'm determined. So I'm going to put that in there as well. When I start something, I generally see it through to the end. And I guess the Sonder Monster, even though we're 14 weeks out, as I said, there's times in the last 10 months where you do question, like, oh, what have I done? What have I committed to? And there's probably been opportunities for me to go, well, you know what? No, let's end it there. But I don't like quitting. I don't believe in quitting unless there's a very genuine, absolute necessary reason. I would rather stand on that start line and attempt to finish than not stand on the start line at all. So I'm very determined once I start doing something to get to the end. Probably stubbornness. Is that a strength or is it a weakness? I'm going to put it down. Stubbornness. I think I'm fast learning that in the world of ultra running, you need a level of stubbornness. One, when people, I guess, in a way, tell you that you can't do something, you got that stubbornness where you want to prove them wrong. And then you've also got that stubbornness where your back's to the wall, I guess, in a way. So, yeah, I'll put stubbornness there as a strength. Other strength is my endurance. I've always been blessed with my endurance. From knee-high to grasshopper, as they say. It's something I've always had to work at, but it's also come naturally in a way. And I say it's God's gift to me. My ability to be able to run long distances and compete long distance races. With the marathons I've done, I think 13, 14 maybe now. So yeah, endurance is definitely a strength of mine. Dedication, determined, stubbornness, endurance. I'm going to put leg strength in there. I've always been blessed with strong legs. I remember as a kid they were compared to Mal Meninga's thighs. And leg strength obviously is a huge advantage on hills. The Sonder Monster has massive elevation. We're talking over 8,000 meters elevation. So that's something that is in there as well as a strength. So we've got dedication, determined, stubbornness, endurance, leg strength. What have you written down for yours? Are you doing this at home? The strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So I'm going to leave that for my strengths now. So the way I'm doing it, I've just written it down the side there. Got this big S for the SWOT, and then just a list of my strengths there. Okay, weaknesses. So big W, and then write the word weaknesses, and then again we're going to write a list of my weaknesses. And it's important here to be honest. You can always just sort of brainstorm and just write down what comes to mind, and then sit down a bit later on and go, okay, cross that out, or oh, I forgot about this. It's not gospel right here, right now. So my weakness is straight away, I'm going to say my mental strength, which for me, it's really, I guess, disappointing or sad to write that, because in the past, before my development of the anxiety disorder back in 2019, I was always mentally strong. I would have had that in the strength column. It was something I sort of prided myself on. But since battling the anxiety disorder for the last 2.5 years, that is moved across into the weakness column. And that's where it's important when we do these SWOT analysis regularly, because we do change as humans. So mental strength. So with that straight away, I can tell you we want to improve these weaknesses. And so I'm working hard on that at the moment. I have a mindset app on my phone where I check in each day how I'm feeling, what my anxiety level's at, what symptoms I'm displaying with anxiety. And there's also got tools there which I'm finding really good, some coping cards, some coping mechanisms, some relaxing stuff, some what if sort of scenarios. So what is it that you have anxiety about at the moment? How can you answer that, so to speak, or rebuke it? So yeah, that's something I'm working on. I'm doing the mental strength training for ultra runners book, working my way through that and the exercises in that, and that's really helping as well. So mental strength is a weakness, and it's something I'm working on, and I've got to work further on. So we'll get to that once we've written the list down. I would go as far as to just talking on my mental strength, and I know from deep within myself, at this, like, many things can go wrong in an ultra race. An ultra race is anything from 42.2 kilometers above. So further than a marathon becomes an ultra race. But for me, for 231 kilometers, we're talking potentially 60 hours out there. I know right now, this moment, that the one thing that could bring me undone is my mental strength and my anxiety battle. So if I don't put the time and attention and focus that it needs to improve, all the physical training I'm putting in to get myself physically in shape for 231 Ks is a waste of time. So yeah, it's really important, that weakness I have of the mental strength. Okay, what other weaknesses? I'm going to put here, I'm going to put time constraints. As I said, you can look back at this. It's sort of like a brainstorming session. So you write down what comes to mind, and you can go back and go, actually, that's probably more of a threat. But I'm going to put it as a weakness. Maybe it should be, instead of time constraints, maybe it should be time management. Let's do that. Time management is my weakness. I am probably forever. I reckon if I wrote down, if you had someone follow you down and record your day, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, I reckon, Big Brother watching, I think looking back at it, I'd probably find that there's probably, I reckon, at least 2 hours in my day that I could find. And my day is fairly full on from start to finish. And it's easy for me to go, oh yeah, there's not enough time there to do this or that, or oh no, I can't get a run in, or oh no, I can't get my weights in, or 101 excuses. But I think it comes back to time management. What do you like with time management? What are your secrets to time management? Are you a list person? Do you write lists of what you got to get done? Are you a schedule person? Do you have everything written in, I'm going to do this at 9 o'clock or 11 o'clock, or do you know what I mean? I'd be interested to know what you do. What are your secrets? Because it might help me with my weakness. So time management. Because I can manage my time right, I can find more time in my day for training, but also maybe I won't be as tired because I'm not stretching myself as thin, if that makes sense. So weaknesses: mental strength, time management. I'm just thinking now out loud here of my running. I'm confident with my hills. My night running. I was thinking downhill running, uphill running, night running. That would be a major weakness. And when we're looking at the Sonder Monster, we are talking about me being out there for at least, well, it's 2 full nights. For you to avoid 2 full nights, you'd have to run it in less than 45 hours. I think that sounds about right. So night running is a weakness. So in terms of that, you don't run in the pitch black. You have head torches as such, but it's still not the same as running in daylight. So night running is a weakness I have when it comes to my actual running. I'm going to put upper body strength, I think. As I said, it's a brainstorming, so I'm going to write it. You can always sit down later on and go through it again and go, oh, maybe not. Upper body strength. The reason I put that down, maybe it's not more strength, maybe it's more endurance. But when I do my long runs, particularly, let's say 4 hours plus, and carrying the pack, I'm always sore in the biceps and the shoulders and the upper back. So maybe that's why I'm carrying too much tension, and that can come back to my anxiety. And so, but yeah, I'm always sore. So maybe I've got to look at my posture and just maybe strength in that upper region for carrying the pack. I'm always running with the pack, and I'm always, most of the time, doing my resistance training, but maybe there's more specific exercises I can do there. I'm also going to put my anxiety as a weakness. Like, I've got mental strength there, but that is different to the anxiety. As I said, anxiety is my Achilles tendon, really. It could bring me undone in a flash out there if I don't deal with it. Okay, so for the weaknesses, we've got mental strength, time management, night running, upper body strength, and anxiety. Let's move on. So SWOT, SWO, which is opportunities. What opportunities do I have? So opportunity-wise, I've got this amazing opportunity to run the Sonder Monster in the Australian Outback. That's pretty impressive and special, so I'm going to write that. And that's simply writing that down. That is a bit of motivation right there. On those days, which I'm sure we all have, whether it be for training or going to work, or maybe it's a family function or a friend's birthday party, it's like, I can't be bothered today. I can't be bothered to do that. So I look at that, and so on those days when, for me, so it's like, oh yeah, I don't have time for the run. I'll just leave it. But then I look down and go, opportunity, Sonder Monster. So if I train, if I put the time and effort in, I can actually do the Sonder Monster. I can actually stand out there in the Australian Outback, in the middle of the Northern Territory, in this beautiful countryside. It looks beautiful from the photos I've seen. And do it. And if I train really well and things go to plan on the day, I can actually cross the finish line and then be able to say to people, you know what? I ran 231 kilometers for the Heart Foundation. I went from start to finish. I did over 8,000 meters elevation. So that's an opportunity I have there. The other opportunity I have, and it's what drives me with my business and my passion for running as well as fitness in general, is the opportunity to change people's lives. I'm going to put that down. The opportunity to change people's lives. By myself doing this in various aspects too. I've said from the start with this one, I want to be an open book. People have known me from the marathons I've done before, and it's part of the journey there. But no one's really got to see me intimately, I guess, in my training and what I go through day in, day out with the training. And that's why I'm recording the vlogs and the whole journey that you can watch on YouTube, you can follow on Instagram and Facebook, is to share that, the highs and the lows. That's why I posted the photo of myself lying there on my back, putting my headphones in Willarawang at the 52 kilometre mark of the 100 kilometres as I battle my anxiety demons. That's all part of me sharing it, because not only by myself doing this fundraising cause, this mission 231 for the Heart Foundation, am I have the opportunity to change lives in that respect in terms of heart health. But I also have the opportunity to maybe motivate or inspire someone to take up running or walking. Maybe it's like, oh, well, if Andrew can do that, maybe I could, hike the Bicentennial Trail, or I could hike the Snowy Mountains, or get what I mean? It might be just the Harbour Bridge, climb the Harbour Bridge. Maybe it's what I am doing is taking myself outside my comfort zone. One of my favourite quotes is, nothing grows inside your comfort zone, or the adventure begins outside your comfort zone. So by myself doing this, I have the chance to change people's lives where people can follow along and go, I should give that a go. Oh, yeah, I should try that. I'll give that a go. But also when it comes to mental health, and that's why I'm trying to be so open sharing my mental health journey, is for anyone else out there who's suffering from anxiety or any mental health, perhaps I'm helping open up the conversation or start the conversation, or know that you're not alone in your battle. I'm going through it too. So yeah, definitely an opportunity to change people's lives. I've got an opportunity to make myself a better person in terms of health, fitness, and just in general. And I'm going to put opportunity to spread the heart health message. The heart health message, and that's just going back to that changing people's lives too, and spreading the heart health message as I write it down. That's a lot of the fundraising. We've done no traditional big sort of fundraising things like trivia nights and things like that. And I'd like to do a trivia night, don't get me wrong. We've obviously got a COVID situation to watch there as well. But my main focus with the fundraising is trying to get people thinking about their health, thinking about their activity levels. So we're actually making a difference to health at the same time, instead of just, come along, we'll have a night and we'll take money for a trivia night. Yes, that's a great way to raise money. That's what it's about as well, raising money for the Heart Foundation. But I really want to try and do it in a way that gets people maybe doing something they wouldn't do. The skipping challenge, huge success. Nearly 50 people so far have taken part. And I'll put details below in the show notes. You can still join up to that anytime. You get yourself a Heart Foundation skipping rope. And you've got to skip 231 times, 3 times a week for 4 weeks. But yeah, things like that. And that's just a way of... And I know a few people who do that skipping challenge who now do skipping regularly, where they didn't before. So yeah, definitely opportunities there to change people's lives and spread that heart health message and show different things you can do to improve our health. Okay, let's move on to threats. What threats do I have? And the first one I'm going to put down right now is COVID. COVID is always lingering around after 2 and a bit years. It is a threat. Maybe there is going to be an outbreak that shuts the borders and can't travel to the Northern Territory. Look, I'm quite aware that's a distinct possibility. Pray not, hope not, but it could happen. So it's a threat. A threat is injuries. And so why I write down the word injuries, I'm going to jump around here a bit. I had the touch knockout on the weekend, and the people who were there would be well aware that I injured myself. I was going to say damaging, well, I guess I damaged it. Hurt my right hamstring and had to do a bit of hobbling on that immediately afterwards and at the presentation. And the good news is I'm running on it. Not as normal, but I'm running. Very short stride, very painful, but I am managing that and progressing with my training as normally as I can at this point in time. But yeah, injuries is a threat. I hurt my ankle in August last year in preparation for the 100K, and I was sidelined for a couple of weeks there. So far in my whole running career, I'm going to call it a running life, I've been very blessed to avoid a lot of injuries, especially serious ones. So, and even the ankle one last year, that looked bad, it felt bad, and I was so lucky to be back running within 2 weeks. And it's the same with the hamstring. When I did it, and even on the Monday when I woke up, I thought I'm gone for 3, 4, maybe 5 weeks from running. But I've been able to get out there, do a 60-minute run on Tuesday, do 80 minutes on Wednesday. I played touch yesterday with the Hillbillies. Very restricted with my movement, but I could play. It's sore today, but no worse than it has been. So yeah, but injuries are a threat because it can derail the training program completely. COVID is a threat too. We talked about the borders. It's also a threat in the sense as if I was to get COVID, it's obviously going to sideline me, and you don't know the long-term effect of that either. Am I allowed to write down the booster shot? I don't want to cause debate or anything or controversy by mentioning the booster shot and the vaccine program. I'm double vaccinated. I have doubts about the booster shot and its effect on my heart, as it does raise my anxiety levels, but also on my training effect. And I do think, like I'm not rushing out to grab it. I'm eligible for it within the next couple of weeks, and I'm thinking, oh, what if it stuffs my training for a month? Like, if I go from 14 weeks to the Sonder Monster to 10 weeks and I can't run for those 4 weeks, like, what do you do there? Like, anyway, so I'm going to write down as a threat the booster shot, because I had some after effects from the second vaccine, elevated heart rate and just not feeling the usual self. So, and that lasted a few weeks, 2-3 weeks, and even still, I don't think my heart's been the same since. But look, we're not going to get into that. That's another story. Other threats. Look, I can't think of it off the top of my head. I will look again at that later on. So what I do now, I look at those strengths, I look at those weaknesses, opportunities and threats, and I look at what I need to do to nurture them. So as I look at my program coming ahead, so I look at the strengths of dedication, determined, stubbornness, endurance, and leg strength. And actually just looking at that endurance one, yes, endurance is a strength of mine, but do I have endurance of 231 kilometers? Maybe not. So maybe that should be a weakness as well. We want to nurture the strengths. We want to improve and build on those weaknesses. So the weaknesses, mental strength. So I've got to look at when I plan my program for the next 14 weeks, and I've got some scribble happening at the moment. What am I going to do for the mental strength? Yes, it's my mental strength training for ultra runners book. I've got to be doing that. I've got to do my mindset app. I've got to work on my anxiety. That's listed there as a weakness too. I've got to be strong. I've got to stop overthinking things. And that's part of this journey, going from the overthinker that I've become to becoming an overcomer that I used to be. Looking for my old self. I've got to stop questioning and catastrophizing things in my head as when I go running. What if this happens? This could happen, or this could happen. I've got to get rid of that. And that's all part of that, improving those weaknesses. Time management. What am I going to do to improve my time management? And by doing that, is it going to help me overall for training for the Sonder Monster? What if by doing a time, maybe I need to plan my days out similar to an army sort of routine or structure where everything has its time. And by that, I'm getting everything done, ticking all the boxes for my business, my family, and my training. Maybe I can live like that for the next 14 weeks and tick all the boxes. As I said, I want to stand on that start line and not go, I wish I'd done a time management page or a diary that had everything set out. I could have done so much better. I want everything ticked as best I can. Night running. So in my training program, from here on in, I think I've got to include at least one night run every single week. And that's going to increase in its frequency the closer we get to the Sonder Monster. We're talking 2 full days out there at night. Makes sense, doesn't it? 2 full days at night. 2 full nights out there during the run. Upper body strength. I do 1 to 2 core sessions a week and 1 resistance training session a week. Does that need to become 2 resistance training sessions a week? Maybe 1 full body and just 1 upper body one. What can I do specifically to target the muscles that are my weakness at the moment, that get sore when I run? So that's my weaknesses. I've got to sit down, look at that and see how I can improve them. I look at my opportunities and make sure I'm grabbing them and taking them. And then I look at my threats and what can I do to eliminate those threats? If I can't go to the Northern Territory because the borders happen to be shut, can I do the 231 kilometers around here somewhere or over similar elevation terrain as I knock on my bottles? So that is a SWOT analysis. I hope you took part at home. I hope it's helped you and you can sit down now and make some plans for whatever it is, the goal you're chasing or what you're trying to improve with work or family life. My bottles I keep knocking. So, now I've forgotten. I don't have them all written out yet, but I think there's 12 checkpoints on the Larapinta Trail at the Sonder Monster. So I've actually, on empty Gatorade bottles, I've been writing the checkpoint and the kilometre mark and trying to help me remember them, recite them. So when you're out there, you can, okay, I remember next up is Rocky Bar Gap, 25 kilometres. And then after that, they're not in order anymore because I knocked them. Yeah, works like that. So at 166 k's, Stanley Chasm. The Serpentine Chalet Dam checkpoint is 77 k's. So and I fill them with water and trying to get my water up each day. It's something I've got to look at. Weakness, nutrition. Not in unhealthy eating, but not eating enough. I have gastrointestinal problems, and I need to do that. And I need to probably get an app and record my food diary down. It's been suggested and recommended to me by my lovely wife, and I need to do that. Again, it's ticking the boxes, making myself have the best opportunity to do my best to complete the Sonder Monster come May. So yeah, that's what all these bottles are. Fill them with water, carry around 2, maybe 3 a day, and try and remember the Hugh Gorge is at 133 k's. I'm about to knock them all again. So that's what those bottles are that I keep knocking. Okay, we've done the SWOT analysis. Fundraising. The fundraising is going really well. We're a long way short of our target at the moment, but I'm still confident we can get the $23,100. But a massive thank you. We had the Portland Touch Association Nick Wade Memorial Knockout on the weekend. I believe 24 teams took part, and the Portland Touch Association nominated Mission 231 as the chosen charity for this year's knockout. And as from that, I'm still touched and I'm moved by it. The Touch Association Committee donated $2,000 from the weekend to Mission 231 and the Heart Foundation. And that is just awesome, beyond my wildest dreams. But then to top that, I think it was 8 out of the 10 teams over the 5 divisions that took place in the finals, winners and runners up, 8 of them donated their winnings without hesitation to Mission 231. And that means the world to you know, the weekend's all about fun. It's all about remembering Nick, who was a great bloke. But you know, to win your division and then to hand over the envelope without even looking in it or knowing what was in it, prize money wise, to show, I guess, it's the belief it puts in, the belief it shows me that people have in what I'm doing and the support. And that's very touching and very moving that there's that amount of belief and support there. And it's that is not assurance, the reassurance, people going, we believe in you, Andrew, we believe in your cause, we believe in your mission, and we've got your back, and here's a donation. And so in total from the weekend, the Nick Wade Memorial Knockout, we raised $3,900 for the Heart Foundation, which is just wow. Like, as I said, the $2,000 that was donated was beyond my wildest dreams, but to nearly double that again. So it takes my fundraising as of right now total to $9,048. And as of right now, breaking news, get the streamers out, as part of the Do It for Heart fundraising program that the Heart Foundation is running and I'm part of with my Mission 231, that figure, through the generosity of the Touch community and everyone who's donated to this point, has me at the #1 position in Australia. #1, everyone. So thank you from the bottom of my heart that we can have such success in the fundraising. It's just incredible. So thank you. #1 at the moment, as of the 11th of February, 2022, #1 fundraising event in Australia for the Heart Foundation under the Do It for Heart fundraising. So well done. It's just awesome. Talking of fundraising though, the Kilometer Dedications are still available, and we've got lots to sell. You purchase a kilometer for $50. You nominate it, so kilometers between 1 to 231 for the Sonder Monster. You nominate a loved one that you would like it dedicated to, and when I run that particular kilometer out there in the Australian Outback, I'll run it for you and your loved one. They don't have to be someone who suffered from heart disease. It can be a Valentine's Day gift. It can be a birthday gift. It's $50 goes to the Heart Foundation. You get a certificate to say that the kilometer, let's say it's kilometer 14, was dedicated to this person and I ran it, and you get a little map of Larapinta and shows from start to finish, and just that certificate of appreciation to show you sponsored a kilometre for a loved one. If we can sell all those kilometres, 231 of them, at $50 each, that goes a long way to achieving that $23,000 goal that we have for the Mission 231 fundraising target. So please, again, show notes I'll put below. I'll put the link there to be able to get a kilometre dedication. Spread the word. Spread it to your work colleagues, for your family, your friends, your sporting teammates. If every second person you know bought one, how much could we add to the Heart Foundation kitty there? It'd be awesome. So please have a look at that. We'll be back. I'm going to leave it at that. Next podcast, we're going to talk about heart disease risk factors. I think it's part of my Mission 231 is educating and awareness, raising the awareness. So the next podcast, we're going to talk about the heart disease risk factors and what you can manage and what you can't manage, and how many risk factors do you have. It's quite surprising and quite alarming, the statistic for that. But that's on the next podcast, which will drop in 2 weeks' time. The last week of February, we'll be back in the podcast studio for Running with Heart. I'm going to head off. I've got to get a recovery run in today, and then hopefully the hamstring holds up and I get a big weekend of running in as well. Every step, all the time, as always, is Running with Heart as we head towards the Sonder Monster in 14 weeks' time. Come along for the journey. Subscribe to YouTube channel, watch the vlog, subscribe to Spotify, and make sure you're following on Instagram and Facebook as well, so you don't miss a step, a day of the Running with Heart journey. Run with Heart, everyone.